finding somebody who just loves you. That's something that just kind of hit me recently, that maybe the type of girl that I'm seeking out is not the right type of girl on the inside. I think I have had a tendency to look at girls in the past, or chase girls in the past who've been toxic. And I don't know why, but I've been attracted to girls who were hypergamous. And maybe there's something in my biology that's like, oh, I think that's a good girl. And, you know, for some reason thinking that that's what I wanted. And maybe there are girls out there who are nice girls. Maybe there are girls out there who really have something on the inside, some kind of value where they treat love as something more than just hopscotch to the guy with the best things, the guy who can provide for them the best situation. And there's different angles to look at it. Maybe they're messed up. Maybe them doing that, jumping from guy to guy, looking for this type of guy, looking for that type of guy, and all the while using and discarding men on their way there, is a sign of a very toxic person. But maybe they don't understand that they're toxic. Maybe they don't understand that that's not the right way to be until later in life. And the unfortunate part with that is, along the way, they probably hurt a lot of men, hurt a lot of guys. And then guys start to get to thinking, and they think, oh, I need to be better so I can keep that kind of girl. I need to make my game better, instead of just, you know, accepting themselves for who they are and trying to find someone who will love them for them. Maybe that sounds weak to certain men. I don't know. There's this school of thought that you need to improve so she'll pick you, and you need to improve so you'll keep her around, and you need to always, you know, this Rollo Tomasi type of mentality, which I kind of feel sorry for guys like this, you know, entrepreneur in cars, guys who teach other guys to evolve to beat out the hypergamy. Now, I have no problem with men improving. I have no problem with men staying in shape. I have no problem with men making more money. I have no problem with men becoming more socially adept, becoming better men all around. I have no problem with men becoming more quality men, right? However, if your goal and motivation for that improvement is so that you can impress and keep a woman, that is something I think there's a problem with. Some of the most quality men I've ever met didn't necessarily have the type of qualities that these guys are talking about. You know, your Rollo Tomasis, your entrepreneurs in cars. A lot of these PUA coaches teach the same kind of thing. Improvement, bring more value, you know, be better than just the average guy so that you can get her and keep her, this type of thing, which fundamentally, if you really break that psychology down, that's pussy pleasing. It's pandering to pussy. Okay? Fundamentally. Not to say that men shouldn't improve, but to say that you should always be on your purpose so that she doesn't, you know, it's just weirdness. And I've seen these types of relationships, and they lack love. When you are with somebody who is performing in order to keep you around, there's always that you've always got that back door open. But when you commit to somebody out of love, then you are giving yourself a better chance for that relationship to work in the long term, because love is something that forgives. Love is something that, if you love somebody, you're probably not going to get bored of them. If you're just in it because they have more money than the other guy, or because they're in better shape than the other guy, and they look better in suits than the other guy, and they have improved more to impress you than the other guys, then you're probably really not in a relationship for the right reasons. It's probably a toxic way to look at relationships. And women who do that, I'm starting to see more and more as I get older, are kind of toxic. That's a toxic mind state, I believe. And I believe a lot of times when I look at girls who do that, it on the surface, it might look great. On the surface, they might present a good picture. Oh, this is me with my boyfriend. We're over here doing this at the pumpkin patch. We're over here doing this hiking. We're over here doing this sightseeing. We're over here doing all this stuff. And it looks good on the outside when you take the pictures and all that kind of stuff. It looks good for social media. But at the core of it, the question is this. The question is, what type of love do you have for that guy? Are you going to be with him through thick and thin? Are you going to love him, if he loses his job, if he gets sick, or do you really love him? Or is he just the guy who had the best situation that you could find, and now you're trying to manufacture this really cool, loving scenario with him, right? So you got to pay attention to that, because there's some nuance there. There's some gray area there that is pretty important. So I've seen a lot of these relationships just go bad, because what happens eventually is even the guy might lose his looks. Even the guy might get boring. Oh man, you know what? It's boring that he just works the same job over and over. Oh, you know what? We don't go out and go sightseeing like we used to. He doesn't have any energy anymore. He's too busy with his hobbies, or he's too busy with these things he's doing. He doesn't treat me how great he used to treat me, because he got complacent maybe, and he felt like, oh, you know what, I got her, we got married, why should I keep up trying to get her? And it might not happen right away. It might take 20 years of your life. It might take 10 years of your life for him to just get complacent. And then at that point, he might not even care if you leave. See, a lot of the motivation for younger guys to be the man of her dreams, to fulfill all those little check boxes that she has on the man of her dreams, right? Whatever that may be. His motivation to be what she wants lessens and lessens as time goes on, and he's with her for a long time. And when you don't love somebody in a real selfless type of way, or an unconditional type of way, what I see tending to happen is the conditions eventually start to fade. The conditions that you love that person start to fade. However, it fades with enough time to where, because you built that bond, etc., you end up wasting 5 or 10 years of your life. And that's when divorce happens. Instead of finding somebody you could have been with when you were 25 or whatever, you found somebody who just beat out all the other guys, and then by the time you're 35, then all of a sudden it's a divorce. How many times have you heard people say, oh, I had a divorce after 10 years? Lots of times. So there goes 10 years of your life. From the female standpoint, right? And even the male standpoint, it's like, hey, you're trying to impress her for 10 years, and then you get bored of her, can't keep up the facade, she cheats, or you cheat, or something breaks down. This is what happens when you don't love somebody unconditionally. This is what happens when the relationship is not founded and based on love. And I've seen this happen. So the question is can I find somebody like that? That's the question. Can I find somebody who's not looking for men for hypergamous reasons? And I don't know. I think it might be possible. Sometimes I see girls that I think are really nice girls, and I think, yeah, maybe she wouldn't judge, or maybe this that. You know, it's sad that there is such a thing as all these things, because it really distorts an institution that could be a pretty pure institution. The institution of love could be a very sacred, in the sense of that it's could be a very wonderful thing, a wonderful sacred thing, if people didn't come into it for very selfish reasons. And people say, oh, this is just the mating process, and I hear guys say this all the time, this is just the mating process, this is just how women are, it's their biology, you can't change it, da 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 da. Well, I've seen it different. I've seen people have genuine relationships based on love. I've seen it. It's just not something you see every day. It's not something you see often. Usually, which is one of the biggest sources of my chagrin, the biggest sources of my, a lot of my suffering in my life as an adult, is that a lot of these relationships out here, and these so-called love and marriages out here, are conditional on what the man can do for her, and you have this is kind of biology thing, like the wolf. And I bought into that kind of thinking for a long time, like the lead wolf gets the woman, the alpha lion gets to mate with all the women, and it's like, if you really think about it, that's a pretty piss poor explanation or definition or example of love. So you provided something for her that no other guy provided, right? Or she liked your nest better than the other guy's nests, right? And then you want to slap a label of love on that scenario. I don't know, man. That's pretty iffy. It's pretty piss poor example of genuine love. To say, hey, man, you know what? I make more money than the other guys. I got a more steady job than these other guys, and she likes me more than these other guys. Does she really like you more than the other guys, or does she just like what you do for her more than the other guys? She likes how you're romantic. She likes how you play with her emotions more than the other guys. and then you think like, oh, well, that makes me a man. I'm the man. I don't know, man. It's not about you at that point. To me, it's more about her. It's like, is she really a prize? Is she really the one that you want to be with? See, it's this weird competition thing that guys click into. This weird competition frame and mind state, way of thinking, like, oh, I'm in competition with other guys to get the girl. I'm gonna beat, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna beat them out by loving her more, treating her better, or I'm in competition to have the most money so I can get the best girl and I can keep her. And that's a weird way to look at love. Why do guys do that? It's like you're allowing yourself to be used in a way, like a franchise, like McDonald's, like a man, like an owner of a local McDonald's. Like, you're using something. That's not like, there's a difference between like, hey, I'm an owner of a local McDonald's, and somebody who really built a wonderful restaurant that from scratch. That's their love child, or you know what I mean, their love hobby, right? There's a difference in the food. There's a difference in the taste of the food, right? McDonald's is pure consumer trash, right? It's purely unhealthy for you. It's pure duplicated junk. It's the same in every store. It tastes the same. It's all bad for you, right? You go to a restaurant that's built out of love, from someone's love hobby, and you might get some really quality, great food that's healthy for you, and you have a great experience there. You see, that's kind of the difference. It's like, hey, man, I built this artificial, I manufactured this sort of life, and this girl joins me, and it's like, it's like, okay, okay, but I don't know if it's that really love. And you see, and you go and do all the prescribed things. You go and take all the pictures at the places, oh, we're gonna go see the lights, and you see these relationships, and it's like, I don't know, man, I don't know what's on the inside. Is there really love there? Do they really love each other unconditionally, or do you just like the situation that you're in temporarily? Well, that situation can end. People change, people can lose their money, their career, they can, circumstances can change. Then what? Still gonna stick with that person? And then on the flip side, you might see a relationship where, yeah, they take pictures, but it's nothing special. They're just taking pictures of each other, and maybe they post it on social media, maybe not that often, or the lighting's bad. It's you can still tell they're smiling and they're happy, but it's not like, oh, get the lighting to be perfect so everybody can see how happy our relationship is, and it's like, he's not. You could tell he's not doing anything to keep her or win her over. He's just being himself, and she appreciates him and loves him for who he is. That guy's the happiest guy on earth. That guy's happy as hell because he doesn't have to manufacture anything. He doesn't have that worry in the back of his heart, the back of his head, back of his mind, that she could cheat on him, or she could leave him for a guy who has something better. Or he doesn't have that worry. He's not out here in competition with anybody. He's just being himself, and she chose him for being himself. Now that's a good woman. That's not a toxic woman, right? She chose him for who he was, regardless of what he could do for her. That's real love, man. Do I see it often? Not in this day and age. Do I see it ever? Yeah, I see it sometimes. Occasionally. Rarely, but I see it. It's not something I've never seen. It's not the Loch Ness Monster. It's not Bigfoot. It's not something that is not possible. Now, yeah, does Disney play it up? Does Hollywood indulge and make people think that it's around every corner? Does Hollywood and these movies make you think that it's super easy and possible to find love? And yeah, they do, and that distorts things, and that kind of messes things up, because it's not easy, and it's something that I don't see every day. It's rare, and it's maybe not as glamorous as Hollywood makes it. It's maybe not like The Notebook. It's maybe not like these Disney movies and that kind of love. It might be something more normal. It might be something more regular. It might be something that you didn't really quite expect. It might not blow your socks off